let's just get started. I wanted to do a little round of introductions. We have some new folks or some folks that haven't been here for a little bit. So we'll do names, pronouns, organization, and I have given up on these icebreakers a little bit. Yeah, I don't have one for this morning, so I'm just kind of
get a tattoo right now today. The tattoo artist is at your desk. What do you get?
What your tattoo would be? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Thanks, Penny. So hey, I'm Andrew. For new folks, I work for the Oregon Community Food Systems Network and the Farming for the Future Working Group coordinator. I help keep this group moving forward and many others in the network. What tattoo would I get? I had this like when I was younger, I was like, I'm gonna get a Lord of the Rings tattoo. And it's gonna be like some elven rune because I'm a nerd like that, but I'm not gonna do that now. And then we'll just pass it over. I'll pass it to D. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Hey y'all, my name is D. Thompson. I'm use they them pronouns, and I'm the farm program manager for Oregon Food Bank. And my next tattoo that I will definitely be getting is going to be my late cat, who unfortunately got taken by a coyote. I'm just going to have him on my shoulder. He used to do this thing where he would like look up backwards at me, and so I just want that kind of always right there whenever I need it. Yeah, and I'll pass it to Silkette. I hope I said that right.
Hi, yeah, you did. Silkette Ra. She, her pronouns. I'm the producer support manager in Astoria at the North Coast Food Web. This is my first meeting, so I'm really excited to join and see this packed agenda. But tattoos, I don't know what it would be exactly, but I have a 1-year-old and I have another tattoo for another daughter of mine. So I would get something for the baby now, but not sure what. I will pass it to Crystal.
Okay, hi. I'm the new education program assistant at OSU Extension, the Lynn County and Benton County offices, in the small farms and forestry program. And I don't really want any more tattoos, but I'll go with Andrew's. Like when I was younger, I wanted to get this ladybug eating an aphid tattoo on my leg, but I don't want any more tattoos, so I'm good.
Penny, did you go? Let's go ahead.
Sorry, and then pass it to Penny. Sure.
Hi, everyone. I'm Penny Feltner. I use she, her pronouns, and I run the Working Lands program in the South Willamette Valley. We help farmers transition to regenerative management, connect to resources for on-farm conservation. And if I had to get a tattoo right now today, I wouldn't, because I don't think I could get anything small. It would have to be enormous. So I would probably get an entire sleeve of botanical illustrations of native plants and their scientific names. So I could also use it like as a reference. I think that would be cool. Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi Nordyke. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm with the OSU Small Farms program like Crystal, and I'm up in the metro area. And if there was a tattoo artist sitting next to me right now and I had to get a tattoo, I would get a tulip, and I'd probably get it here on my forearm. When my dad was from the Netherlands, and when he passed away, 2 of my nephews, they got tulips because my dad would always plant tulips for us. So I think I would get that. And I will pass it to Sage.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sage. I use she, her pronouns. I'm with Adelante Mujeres out in Washington County with our regenerative agriculture and farmers markets and other programs for Latina farmers. I have a carrot and chicken tattoo, so I might just continue with that theme and get some other vegetable, but not sure quite. Maybe garlic. Garlic would be cute with a little blanking on the term, but the top of the garlic too. And I'll pass it to Tatiana.
Hi all, I'm Tatiana Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I also work in Washington County. I work for the Tualatin Soil and Water Conservation District, but we cover Washington County, and I'm the Rural Conservation Technician. I think if I were to get a tattoo, I just love California quail, and I always had this little idea of like 3 little babies and like one chasing to catch up. I thought that would be kind of funny. So I love that question. Thanks, Penny. Let's pass it to Devin. She hasn't gone.
Yeah, hey everybody, I'm Devin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Working Lands Engagement Coordinator for 1,000 Friends of Oregon. And I think I would love to have my arms just covered with vines. I don't know what kind of vine, but I think that would be a really cool look, and maybe I will do it one day. I don't know who hasn't gone. Oh, Kate, have you gone?
I have not. Thanks. My name is Kate Crowley. I use they, them pronouns. I am Farmer Training Program Manager with Rogue Farm Corps. We work all around the state. I personally am based in the Southern Willamette Valley. The next tattoo that I would like to get, this has been on the back burner for a while, but my intention is to get some sort of a bread and roses tattoo. I think I kind of want to have I might get a neck piece, a subtle neck piece is what I'm thinking. And maybe update it for this particular growing region, and instead of wheat, do something like hazelnuts, and instead of roses, do a flower that I enjoy much more. But something to represent both carbohydrates, food, meaningful food, and then beauty. But I've been saying I'm going to do that tattoo for like 3 years. So we'll see. We'll see when that's in the budget. And has everybody gone now?
I haven't gone.
Great. Alice.
I'm Alice Morrison. I use she, her pronouns. I'm with Friends of Family Farmers. And I don't have any tattoos, and I feel like that is very off-brand for me. So I've thought about this question quite a lot throughout my life and never committed to anything. And I might go in the direction that Dee went in also, that like I have a dog, he's a Pyrenees Newfoundland mix, and he is like, people say that like, oh, it's your soul dog or something, like a dog that you really connect with and has been with you through a very difficult part of your life. But I don't want to, I would get something about him. It might not be him. Yeah. A Rue themed tattoo. And I think that's everybody. Back to Andrew.
Yeah, that's everyone. Thanks. Amazing. That's a great question. Thanks, Penny. Totally appreciate Dee's on point emojis too. You had even a hazelnut or a chestnut there. That was perfect. Okay, so I want to give you all some quick updates on things that we've been deep involved in with the Oregon Community Food Systems Network, and get some kind of thoughts and updates and some opportunities for engagement on these things. I've been super deeply focused on the upcoming Farmer and Rancher Disaster Resilience Grant program that we were awarded, and are getting ready to launch the applications coming up here early 2024. And so I'm gonna do a quick little, I've had this slideshow put together, and I'm just gonna go through like what we got going on right now with that real quick for everyone. Have folks seen that? Is that worth your time? Or do you want me to just kind of talk it through? I'll make it quick. It'll be like 5 minutes. So I'm going to share my screen. Stop me if you've already seen this. Okay. Do you see the slideshow?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we're planning to announce the program early mid-December. Like all the details will be up on our website and available. So this is still sort of a sneak peek. We haven't completely finalized every aspect of it, but we're getting really close. So here's just kind of an overview. OCFSM was awarded $2.65 million over the next 2 years to re-grant to small farmers and ranchers across the state to support their operations to be more disaster resilient. Like I said, this is state funded, managed by OCFSN, and we're contracting with FoFF and other folks across the food system to support and advise, and administer this program. Some of our key goals are to keep the barriers to access to this program as low as possible, minimal application questions, minimal reporting, just what we need to do our due diligence to report back to the state and continue getting this funding into the future, but also realizing that we want to make sure that this is accessible. We're going to be doing direct outreach to underserved farmers across the state with trusted community members. We'll go into that in a little bit, and I have an ask for you there. We have a team in place to provide application support to producers when they apply. We'll have office hours. We'll do a webinar. So it's going to be translated to Spanish, all of our materials. We've had expert and farmer advice on creating both the full program and our list of resilience strategies. We've have an advisory committee, and were really awesome. We met and they provide really good feedback on the program, and we changed a lot of what we were initially putting together to meet those kind of critiques and suggestions around the program. So I think we have a stronger grant program because of those experts and farmer advisors. We had I'll get into that. We also really closely used the OSU's recent Beat the Heat report, which was done by some researchers at OSU Extension. They went across the state interviewing producers on their impacts and suggested solutions to address drought and heat issues. And a lot of our strategies that we put in the grant program for things that farmers can implement on their farm and apply for money for came right out of that report. So that was super helpful. We're going to have 2 funding pools. So we're going to have a small grant and a large grant. Small grant being more for it's going to be up to $10,000, a little easier to access, more of them, trying to get as much money out as possible to as many farmers as possible. And then we have some larger grants, fewer, but also wanting to be able to provide more money to some farmers who have really strong applications to then make a bigger impact on their operations. Feel free to just interrupt me if you have questions. So the timeline that we have for the program, applications are going to open January 1. We're going to have 2 months of open applications. And then those will be closed the beginning of March, and then awards will be announced April 1st and funds delivered as soon as possible after that. And there's going to be 2 rounds. We're going to do 2/3 of the money the first round and 1/3 of the money the second round in 2025. The reason we stacked that early for the first year is so we have a really strong report to the legislature to go back for the 2025 session and ask for more funding for producers. Similar to this, the reporting period right now for these grants is looking like we'll give the folks about a year, maybe just under a year. So we have strong final reports for the 2025 session for those first grants. But farmers will have money will arrive end of April, and they'll have a full year. So that next fall season and winter season off season to implement projects if they're unable to do it during peak season. So trying to get we just got the money in our bank account from the state like 2 days ago. So we were awarded in August during the end of the session. So part of why an organization like OCFSN gets money like this is we can be really fast and turn this around as quick as possible. So this timeline is representing that we're really pushing hard to get the money out the door this year. General qualifications to be eligible for this grant. You have to be working an active farm. You have to have an active farm in Oregon driving some farm income. It's for small farmers. So if you'll be eligible for if you're making under $350,000 in sales, farm sales. So we're looking at line 2 of the Schedule F, not line 9, the adjusted gross income. But this is stuff that could change last minute as we're like working out details. But it's looking like we'll do under $350,000 on Schedule F, line 2. So those are sales of products. And then through our grading rubric, priority points will be given to BIPOC farmers in drought designated counties, and environmental justice producers. We'll be looking at, mostly for the larger grants, we'll do a closer budget review, making sure that the request is right size for their farm, and reporting requirements. Testimonials will be essential, reporting on what was done, pictures of the projects, those types of reporting requirements at the end of the period in the year after award date. And then this resilience strategy impact, actually we're kind of removing that in the grading rubric. Basically we have a massive list of potential resilience strategies that producers can use on farm. And if they have one that they want to apply for that isn't on our list, we just ask them to describe how it will make their farm more resilient to climate disasters, and so it doesn't disqualify them. We had a farmer advisory committee from producers all over the state. We had folks from Northeastern Oregon, South Coast, Southern Oregon, Willamette Valley. We had producers from Central Oregon. We had producers who were diverse veggies, seed producers, livestock. We had some indigenous producers guiding this. So it was a good group of folks there advising on the grant program. We also have the OSU Small Farms Program and Oregon Climate and Ag Network advising on this as well. And some the kind of like overarching categories we have for the resilience strategy categories are irrigation, water efficiency, shading and cooling, soil health management, ecosystem management, other crop management, purchase of rental equipment, and purchase or rental of farm equipment. That's really key, that we are clear that that equipment needs to be directly influencing climate resilience. So I don't think like a tractor, even though obviously you can be more resilient if you have a good tractor, like we're talking like implements for no-till, these kinds of things, versus like a tractor that can be more broadly applied. Planning and then monitoring and research are the broad categories, and there's a whole list of things under those. In the notes stock, we have a link to the form. So we're still taking input on a form that FoFF put together for farmers to discuss their needs. And then there's a place to record that. If you had no folks that would want to comment on this, you can use that form. It's in the notes stock. And then stay tuned to this space or OCFSN or FoFF or any of us as we get ready to announce the grant. So that's it. And I wanted to just kind of open it up to the group and thoughts on that
I have a
program.
question.
Yeah, question.
So I imagine there's ranking criteria is still being developed, but how is use of funds to leverage other funds being considered? So I'm thinking like NRCS cost share agreements and things like that.
So yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah, this is a really awesome program in the sense that it's state funding, so it can be used to leverage federal grants. It can be used as match. We don't have a grading rubric question or line on like if people getting points if they're leveraging other funding. It's a good question to potentially add. We're going to give them in the grant guidelines and materials, they'll be like, hey, check out NRCS and these other grant programs to see if this can be used to leverage other funding. But we're not being like really prescriptive about like which specific programs. And yeah, I don't really have a good answer. There is no priority given to folks who are doing that currently.
But Andrew, just to be clear on Penny's question, matching for those types of programs is an eligible project. We've talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So like
for
if
sure.
you've had meetings with OWEB and trying to make sure that they understand what this grant program can do that could, you know, provide additional resources to folks trying to get into their programs. And we confirmed that like both state and federal conservation and drought resilience programs, these funds would be eligible matching funds for those.
See D's hands right. Does that answer your question, or do you want to advocate for something that we on that question? Sorry, D. Penny.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Great. D.
Yeah, so apologies if I missed this, just two quick questions. Is that slide deck available, or has that already been sent out? Sorry if I missed that.
It will be when it's early December, when I don't really like, this is publicly recorded and shared, but to start sharing with producers, we're still in like, we haven't like published this yet.
Yeah,
so that will be
sounds good.
available when it is ready to go.
Okay, and then for the equipment piece, I just was wanting to tease out a little bit more like what would or wouldn't qualify.
Yeah.
Just thinking specifically about you know, like at the small farm tool thing that happened at Headwaters recently, they were showing like a compost spreader, which absolutely is something that would help soil retain more water, be drought resilient. So just, yeah, curious about
That's
some of
on
the
the list
nuance
for
in
sure.
that.
Compost
Okay.
spreaders on the list. How did we write it here? I can read it directly from our document here. Purchase, rental, or refurbishment of equipment. This is for equipment that is specifically intended for a purpose which would improve climate resilience. So we have a bunch of things in there like no-till seed drills, flail mowers, roller crimpers, manure spreader, for compost spreader. So basically, yeah, those types of things. And trailers for animal evacuation. And this isn't, like we've said, this isn't comprehensive. Folks can offer other things, and it's not going to put a penalty on your application if you're not using what's on our list. It's just, we've had comments about, you know, folks applying for something like a tractor that then doesn't have, could or could not be used directly for resilience strategies. So we're trying to kind of thread that line. Even have on here emergency milking equipment for evacuated dairy herds. Yeah.
I guess I just wanted to advocate that like getting an implement or an attachment certainly would be a huge help, but if the farmer doesn't have like the BCS tractor to begin with, it's kind of a moot point. And so just want to advocate that maybe some rethinking around tractors being applicable to this. And if it's like outlined specifically that the farmer is going to be implementing techniques that are going to improve drought resistance or improve soil health, and that there's like a commitment to that, maybe rather than someone who just wants like a disker or something that's going to actually degrade soil health, you know, something like that. I just want to really advocate for that because certainly there's just a lot of financial barriers to entry for like getting into like a BCS scale period for small scale producers, let alone like a larger Kubota or like the Soul Track electric tractors.
Heard. I agree with that. That's important. Were there any other comments around that specific topic? Any challenge to what you brought up? Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about too. If, yeah, people don't have a BCS but are interested in, yeah, some of that equipment like compost spreader that you can put onto the BCS, and then wondering about like group purchases for some larger shared equipment. You know, I'm thinking like the soil and water conservation districts, they have their rental programs. If there were like if there was an organization or a group of farmers that came together and said, oh, you know, we would all love to get like a, I don't know, $10,000 compost spread or something, that might be more than, you know, and that we're going to share it. It's going to live at this farm. Is that a possibility?
Totally.
No-till seed drill. Okay.
Yeah. You know, we got comments, but we started this with wanting those bigger grants to be cooperative. Like, so you would be required to have some sort of like shared equipment or something like that as part of the application. And we got a lot of pushback from our advisory committee around that. You know, that would really exclude a lot of farms who maybe are more rural areas that aren't able to cooperate with their neighbors. There's justice issues around like requiring that. So, but definitely, and there is no priority points in our rubric for projects that are collaborating or sharing equipment, in order not to kind of perpetuate that in our rubric, that inequality. But it's definitely an eligible project and use of the funds.
Andrew, I was curious to kind of to hop onto that as well. I know so Tualatin Soil and Water Conservation District, Washington County does have a no-till drill and a compost spreader. And so I just want to see if you've got like a good idea of what districts have what, and so you're not getting like, I would hate to see one of my farmers apply for a no-till seed drill when they could borrow it from us for $250.
Yeah, we have a list of those. We have Orkin has shared a list. I don't know if it's up to us to deny if they, you know, are eligible.
Right. I just would be like,
because they're in that area.
Gotcha. I would just, if there's any way that if you do get something from someone who wants a no-till drill, be like, hey, have you seen that you could rent it? Just because I found that that's, you know,
yeah. We anticipate that we are going to get way more applications than we have funding for this. This is a very open-ended grant that's open to the entire state of small producers. So we will be making hard decisions about who's getting funding and who isn't, and that's why this grading rubric is really important. And if we do have an opportunity to, you know, provide another avenue to get to where a farmer needs to go through like these other resources, and they're not getting funded, we'll definitely do our due diligence to help them get those resources.
Cool, thank you. I know it's kind of a mystery for all of us. I'll tell you what. So if you've got a list that's like, oh, they've got equipment rental, then that's perfect.
Yeah, Orkin has shared that they've been doing that.
And sorry. But maybe there's a way that we could include, like when we get to the application phase, we can include a link to that list of, you know, soil and water conservation districts that have that equipment. If Orkin has sent us the inventory, there could be a link in the application document that's like, hey, what do you plan to do with this money? Also, have you checked out this list of things that are already available? See what's available in your area before making your plans.
It's already in the document. I'm looking at it right now, and I see it like, oh yeah, list of no-till drills rentals available via soil and water conservation districts.
Yeah, so then folks like can see that, and if they still have a barrier to doing that, they could apply, but at least we're front and center with the information that those projects exist.
Cool. I just want to double check that the Tualatin SWCD is on that.
I'll check, but I'm sure you are. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for that. I really appreciate y'all providing those comments. It's honestly, this is a lot. It's really stressful. But we're getting through it, and we got a good team. To that inventory list, yeah, I'll share that with you. Put it in the chat. Let's see, Tualatin.
Andrew, while you're looking at that, Tatiana, or anyone else, does anyone know if any of the SWCDs like rent out BCSs or walk behind tractors and implements. I haven't come across that. I'm just thinking for some of our smaller producers that aren't tractor.
Question, not that I am aware of. The couple I know of like Yamhill, Clackamas is obviously a big one. Obviously East Monoma, they've got their big farm there, but yeah, not that I'm aware of any small tractors.
I just wanted to chime in and say that we do offer that within the Pathways to Farming program, and we've been trying to work with the food bank to also be able to offer that to other BIPOC producers, mostly within the Portland metro area. So far, we've gotten some pushback on that from our risk and safety people, but I'm really advocating that we make that available since, you know, it's not always in use by farmers in our program. So yeah, just wanted to name that I'm working on that, but that we do offer that within, if you're a program member within Pathways.
I've been thinking about this for a while too, and with some of the SWCD, you know, with like walk behind tractor based, and then also sit on tractor based implements and other things, thinking about like maintenance and repair for those. I always thought it'd be fantastic if there was like somebody, it was part of their jobs that they would go like have a calendar schedule and then, you know, work with the farmers to be like, okay, I need like this prepped here, so that there's one person like operating or working with the farmers on that equipment. And that's like, you know, somebody's job is to go around and do those things. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had of like, oh, if somebody's like, gosh, it would be really great if, yeah, like I just needed this area flail mode or compost spread, and they're like, I want to learn how to use it, but I don't know exactly how to do it. Anyway.
Yeah, kind of like a traveling BCS person who like does the labor. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I think even having like some sort of mobile mechanic too, who could like come to farms and repair equipment on farm. Currently, the way that we service our BCS, you know, I have like enough things to get us by throughout the year, but like full servicing and like major repairs, I take down to CRE in Canby and drop the BCS off there. Yeah, and you know, I think even thinking from what I do know about Headwaters, like they have some people dedicated to that tractor maintenance and care work, but certainly seem to always need more support and within that because equipment likes to break down. Yeah.
Great. Hey, this is a really cool resource. Thanks for sharing that, Penny. Tatiana, it looks like this is looking at this more closely, this no-till seed drill equipment rental program is from last year. And it looks like Tualatin SWCD is listed as we'll have one for rent in the future. Do you have the Orcan contact, and can you reach out to them and get them to update this with your...
I could definitely try. Who would you recommend reaching out to?
Carly or Megan?
Carly or Megan. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Do you have their contact?
I think I've got Carly's, so that'll be perfect.
Great.
Thank you very much. I was like, oh shoot, I don't think I've ever provided them any information about it. It's like, oh gosh. So
great.
Cool. Thank you very much.
And I'll follow up with Megan too and say like, hey, can we get this updated? So we got that. Great. Thank you. Any other thoughts on this? Great. So we are recruiting for, as you can see in the notes. Oh, I don't know if I gave you all the notes doc link. Here you go. Sorry about that. We also, so there's some links in here that are for the we're recruiting for the grant review committee. So members of this group would be awesome for that. This is folks who are going to be going through the process of looking at all the applications and grading them through our rubric, and then participating in our meetings to see who's awarded and who's not. So we've got that application form there. Y'all would be paid for your time. And then we're also hiring for outreach team members, and that form is in there as well. That is for we have a small group of folks that we're going to be recruiting from around the state to provide some direct outreach on this program to specific communities, historically underserved communities, to make sure that they get notification that this is an available grant for their work, their farming work. So please share that with any producers or folks who have direct relationships with underrepresented farming communities. Would be great to have some help there. And yeah, so we've got those, and then we also are hiring another person for the team who's going to help administer this grant, who's also working on another project called the community capital access for local farmers grant. That job's out there. FoFF is hiring, and I'm going to hand it over to Alice to talk about how we got some members of the working group got an RFSP this year.
Hi, everybody. So yeah, we put together the Capital Assistance for Local Farmers project. That project came about in the spring of 2022 is when we first formed the idea, and brought together a group of about 10 regionally focused farm and food organizations, as well as 5 state and federal funding sources, like NRCS, ODA, all of those things. And the idea here is that there is a lot of funding coming down that is supposed to be earmarked for climate smart, sustainable, small, regenerative farmers, all the types of farmers that and beginning farmers, and all of these categories that so many of the people that we serve fall into. But on our side, at least at FoFF and the partners in the grant, we are hearing every day that those resources are inaccessible to the folks we work with who want to apply for them. It's either they can't get someone on the phone, or they don't understand the application process, or the eligibility criteria is not clear. And so you get halfway through an application and then realize the project is ineligible, and it's incredibly frustrating for folks. So we got together. I will share the project abstract in the chat so folks can read. And I don't have a presentation, but I should make one. I will make one. And so in 2022, we tried for a USDA grant in a different program, and although our application scored highly in merit, it wasn't a good alignment with that program. So we tried again this year with the Regional Food Systems Partnership Program, the RFSP, which is also the program at USDA that's funding the Food Hub Club work here at OCFSN. So if you all are familiar with that work, it's to bring farm service providers and agencies together to create better outcomes for the farmers that we serve. And so we applied for a 2-year planning style grant to do 3 things. And if you see in this project abstract, we are bringing together a big list of folks. So on the technical assistance partner side, so providing direct technical assistance to farmers in our state, we have FoFF, obviously, Black Food Sovereignty Coalition, Adelante Mujeres, Willamette Farm and Food Coalition, High Desert Farm and Food Alliance, Coast Fork of the Willamette Watershed Council Working Lands Program, hi Penny, Rogue Valley Food Systems Network, North Coast Food Web, and Rogue Farm Corps on that side. And then on the funding partner side, so the purse string holder side of the project, we have the Farm Service Agency. So Derek, the beginning farmer rancher specialist, and Katie, the urban farming specialist, are helping us with this project. Ag West with their beginning farmer program, and NRCS, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. We definitely have room for more soil and water conservation districts to join in, but Jackson was really excited about the program and signed on during the planning stages. The Oregon Department of Agriculture and all of the grant programs that they run. And we also brought OWEB on board after the grant was awarded. We met with them and they were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such an exciting opportunity. And with the very real attention that the Oregon Ag Heritage Program is getting in the upcoming session, and the likelihood that it will be funded again, we wanted to make sure that they were included.
So Taylor Larson from OWEB will also be with us in this project. And this project does 3 things. Oh, before I go into that, thank you to everyone on the call today who's representing one of these organizations who was with us through the planning stages and went to all of those meetings. That we had endless meetings earlier this year about this project, and are so excited that we're getting to a place where we get to start delivering on it. And so this project is going to do 3 things. The first is that it will convene a community of practice between these technical assistance partners, the TA partners, and the funding partners, to bring those folks into the same room so that the funding partners can discuss their programs, their offerings, the eligibility, how to advise our farmers. Obviously, we are not all writing grants on behalf of our farmers, but there are programs, you know, like the High Tunnel program at NRCS, for example. Like, you have to have something in the ground the season before in order to qualify for that land, for it to get a high tunnel. And that's not something that all farmers know. And I mean, as a service provider, I learned that through this process. And if we can help people understand the prep work that makes them eligible for these types of programs, we can put our farmers leaps and bounds ahead of where they would be otherwise. And we love and appreciate our partners at these funding agencies, but they also have extremely limited bandwidth. And many of them have expressed that they are understaffed in their offices. They don't have the capacity to help everyone one-on-one. So having these community partners out there to disseminate the information and help farmers through that process of choosing the right program to apply to for their needs is a huge boon to not only putting more farmers in front of these programs, but putting more dollars in their pockets and making the case that these populations of farmers need to be prioritized by these programs in the future. So then the other part of the community of practice is that it's designed to be a two-way street, that through our collaboration in this community of practice, we can provide feedback on the accessibility and structure of these programs. And it's totally realistic that these are federal and state programs that the people we're talking to don't have the ability to change, but that feedback can keep going in a way where they can direct us to the right feedback channels. We can have a better working relationship with folks so they can understand the barriers that are in front of our farmers, and we can help overcome them. So that community practice is objective 1 or outcome 1. I forget how we phrase it in the USDA narrative, but objective 2 is a network resource map, the NRM. And that is an internal document for, not internal as in internal to FoFF, but internal as in not necessarily public facing. It's for service providers. A running list of all of the programs that are available, what types of projects they apply to, if there are any geographic bounds, if there are timelines on an annual cycle that people need to be aware of, and a contact number for someone that they can get in touch with. And this project is going to be kept updated by the CAF coordinator throughout the CAF period. And I'll talk about this later, but we hope to extend that and have someone on board permanently to keep that a working resource for us, because we all know that directories are only as good as the last time they've been updated. So that is deliverable number 2, and that will come out of our community of practice, the resources that are shared there, as well as independent research by the CAF coordinator, and like ground truthing with our funding partners to make sure that there's enough mutual understanding for this information to be useful. And the third thing that's going to come out of this project is at the end of the 2-year period, there will be a report based on what we've done in the project to identify the gaps that still exist and provide a roadmap to how to provide one-on-one technical assistance for farmers in the future on this topic. That is an idea that's loosely based on the land access navigators that exist in FoFF's Oregon Farm Link program. And hopefully in the implementation phase of a future grant, we have 2 years in the planning phase, and then we can apply for additional funding from USDA for a 3-year implementation period, where we hope to build out the reality of having a dedicated person to help people through this application, like a local food farmer finance case manager, try to help people apply this information in a really tangible sense. So that's the ultimate goal. And the report that comes out of this project will identify gaps, talk about what we learned, and show a roadmap to that eventual future. So I have some things to talk about like what's happening now, but does anybody have any questions about the purpose or outline of the program that I could answer? I'm just so clear. That's amazing. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to that spiel. And now I have a couple ways that you can engage. We are indeed hiring a CAF coordinator position. That is a 25-hour a week, so part-time, fully remote position. The FoFF does have a requirement that the person who takes this job, well, all of our jobs, has to reside in Oregon or be moving to Oregon within 30 days of their start date. So you have to be Oregon-based. But other than that, you could live anywhere in the state. And there is the announcement and job description and everything there for the CAF coordinator position. We are hoping to start interviews the week after Thanksgiving. So if you all want to send this around, we've had some great applications so far, and we're really excited to bring on a new team member. They will be primarily working on the CAF project, but as Andrew said, this position also has a portion of administration for the disaster resilience funding, because this person, will have to have an interest in grants and funding in order to thrive in this position. It made sense that when we were contracted with OCFSN that we would delegate some of the work into this role. So this person will also help to convene and provide administrative support to the grant review committee and make sure they will be checking applications for completeness in the disaster resilience. That's something that Brittany Deming on our team did with the disaster relief grants that we went through the process with last year. Just like looking through applications as they come in, making sure that the grant review committee has all of the information that they need to make an informed decision about that grant. So if someone, answered a question yes or no when we were looking for a description, they would get a call from this person and say, hey, what did you mean by that? What else can I put into this application to make sure we're representing your need and your plans the best way possible? And then obviously getting all those things together and presenting it to the grant review committee so that the committee can make its decisions in a timely way so we can get these funds out the door. So that is the involvement and the disaster resilience portion, but the rest of it is convening that community of practice for CAF, maintaining communications, answering questions, bringing people in, and please share it widely if you have someone who you think would enjoy the role. Then the next thing is that we built into this RFSP grant into our budget. We have all of the TA partners are getting subawards to cover their time that they've put into this grant, as well as travel expenses for the two. We're doing like an in-person kickoff convening and then an in-person closing convening, and the community of practice meetings in between are virtual, but we wanted to get together and have some community understanding. And so all of the TA partners have subawards associated with their commitment. We averaged those subawards because some of them are slightly different based on the hourly rate of the person who is doing the work at the organization. We don't want to dictate people's pay rates. And so we built in an average subaward for an additional partner to join us after the grant was awarded. And we're reserving that for either culturally specific farming organizations or an organization who represents a geographic region not currently represented in the group. So if folks who represent farming populations who are not, currently front and center in these partners, or perhaps Northeastern or Southeastern Oregon, please do get in touch with me, and we're going to be just figuring out a process for choosing the right partner if we get more than one application. So it is a commitment of about, I have the hours estimates, but it's less than 200 hours over the course of 2 years. So it's a fairly light lift. And we do, want to make sure that that partner is compensated for their staff time, to make sure that they're on a level playing field with the rest of the TA partners in the grant. So we have room for one more organization to join us. If you're interested, please get in touch with me and be happy to have you aboard. Timeline for this is that I know that some of y'all on the call are partners, and we originally said we were going to have our kickoff convening before the first of the year. We got our decision from USDA about a month later than they told us at first. So everything's pushed and we will not be having that kickoff convening until Brittany's going to be sending out a scheduling poll actually, so that we can present those dates to the CAF coordinator when they're hired so they can start the planning process for that. But it's probably going to be February. And then we'll have our first community of practice meeting in late March or early April. And we will just plan accordingly. We've had conversations with USDA and they understand that it's a little pushed from where we wanted to be, but A-okay, we'll get back on track by the end of the 2-year period. So really excited to kick it off, and I'll put my email in the chat and folks can reach out if they have any feedback or questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Alice. Yeah, so big things happening in the working group world. I'm just gonna breeze through these other items. I want to make sure we have time for y'all's updates. So we've talked about the BFR story brochure and story map. Done some research. Our current host for the story map needs to be completely changed. They're no longer supporting it. So, and I haven't put any more effort into it after learning that. So it's on the back burner. We'll get back to it once these disaster resilience grants are moved out the door. We're going to do our convening for the working group April after the granting period for the disaster resilience grants. You'll hear more about that as it comes along. If you're interested in the policy side of things of the food systems work, reach out. I can get you onto those lists. And we have a new staff member, Tanya Murray, who is hired to run the Oregon State team for the Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center, a big funding and center that's being funded by USDA. And there's a new website that's in the link or in the notes that you can check out some more details there. It's all kind of being built as we speak. But I want to jump to you all. There's some new folks here that haven't been in this group. I want folks to be able to have a moment to share what they're working on with each other. In the chat or in the notes, sorry. This is at the 10:30 mark in our notes. And if folks want to add their items, we have about a half an hour left for this meeting. So we might not be able to get to everybody, but if you have updates, feel free to add them there in the notes and then we'll go through. But I'm going to pass it to Devin, who's new here and want to make sure you have a chance to share what you're working on with 1,000 Friends.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for including me in this meeting. So if you're not familiar with 1,000 Friends, I don't know if you all are or have a deeper understanding of it, but the focus is on preserving farm and forest land as working lands through policy, advocacy, and litigation. So we're less focused on, it's of interest, of course, but we're less focused on the specific activities on farmland and more focused on making sure that farmland stays as farmland. And so that gets into issues of access to land and regulations around zoning. So I've worked for the organization for about a year now, and a reflection that I've had on my work is that we hear from a lot of the same demographic, and there's kind of a solid base of people that we hear from on land use issues being faced. And I'm working now to broaden the voices that we're hearing from on land use issues that are being faced, like recognizing that there are a lot of changes in the pressures being faced and increased intensity in the pressures being faced and being able to access land and work with the land that people are able to farm and ranch. So yeah, I would love to hear from you all or people from your network on what kind of land use issues are coming up for folks, and that could range from difficulty accessing suitable land or development pressures that are being faced or conflicting uses that are preventing operations from being successful, and yeah, anything that feels relevant to fine-tuning Oregon's land use system to work for farmers. So I'll drop my email in the chat, and if you can think of folks who might have something to say on that topic, or if you personally have something to say, I would love to hear from you. And also let me know if you have any questions around that.
Great. I see Dee's hand is up.
Yeah, welcome, Devin. Thanks for sharing about your work. And yeah, I'll be in touch about that for sure. I just wanted to share a pretty exciting update about the Pathways to Farming program at Oregon Food Bank, which, for those of you who don't know, is a exclusively BIPOC beginning farmer incubator program that was originally started by Mudbone Grown, who also runs Feed and Freedom Foundation. And yeah, we've been in our application process for new applicants, and we had 14 applicants, which was really, really exciting. It's probably the most we've had historically since its inception. So just wanted to extend gratitude to folks who shared that announcement and lifted it up within your networks. There are 3 spots available in our program, so unfortunately we can't give it to everybody, but just wanted to give that update. And once we confirm who will be joining us, I'll be really excited to be sharing that. And it's also been just a really great opportunity to learn more about who's like kind of joining the beginning farmer world, and some of the needs amongst BIPOC growers. So just was grateful to learn more about yeah, where folks are at, what they're looking for, and some of their project ideas or farm business ideas. Yeah, so just wanted to lift that up and extend gratitude to everyone who is sharing that announcement.
Congrats. Folks can raise their hand to get in the stack if you have something you want to share. So Alice.
Now I would like to tell you about FoFF's other work, the rest of it. Thanks for letting me take up so much space in this meeting today. Like I mentioned this briefly, that we run the Navigate program through Oregon FarmLink. That is a program that provides one-on-one technical assistance to farmers seeking land. So we're working with folks who have a little experience, who know what they're looking for to start or grow their farm business and would like some case management and subsidized access to services like lawyers, surveyors, that kind of thing. We have 2 different navigators, and they work with slightly different populations, and they are both accepting applications for limited spots in their cohorts right now. And the first is Sylvia Cuesta's group of folk, and this program started as solely a BIPOC farmer program, and in the last year it has expanded to folks with intersecting identities in the list of historically underserved groups, including LGBTQ+ farmers, farmers who conduct their business in a language other than English, immigrants and refugees, folks living with disabilities, and low-income farmers, and I think that's the list. But if you have questions about that, I can put Sylvia's email in the chat. And then also funded by a USDA grant with Rogue Farm Corps and OAT, we also opened the mid to south Willamette Valley Navigate cohort run by Christina. And if someone is either currently residing or looking to move into that kind of Salem to south of Eugene to the Douglas County line area to find farmland, Christina is working in a geographically constrained program that is open to people of all identities. So if folks are interested in those, I'll put those emails in the chat, but we're accepting applications for those programs right now. And we're also accepting applications for regional farmer ambassadors for our policy creation focus groups that are going to be happening in January and February. As you all probably know, FoFF also engages in policy advocacy, and we only work on things that our farmers have told us they want us to work on. So the way that we do that is we do a giant survey and regional focus groups every 2 years. We did this in 2022, and I think some folks in the room attended those, so thank you for doing that. And we're doing it again. We do it every short session year, and we are recruiting, we're paying farmer ambassadors in different regions across the state to help us recruit people from their community to come to those focus groups. So I will put that in, I'll just put a lot of things in the chat, but if you have a farmer who's interested in a short duration contract to get 7 of their peers in the room to talk about policy, then we would love to have them.
Amazing. Thanks, Alice. I want to hand it over to our USDA folks in the room, Sophia or Derek. I see you put your email. Sophia, what's your, I think you're new to the space. I remember correctly. What's your role over there?
Yeah, I jumped on one of these calls a couple months ago, just
Okay,
kind of
great.
poking my head in to be in the know of what's going on and what other people are working on. But yeah, I'm working in the Central Oregon office as a program technician. So I'm just basically helping farmers work through the different Farm Bill programs and helping onboard farmers that are participating in NRCS programs. So we work with Jefferson, Deschutes, and Crook County here. And then that also includes the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, which we've been actively working to engage and help that community more. So I'm new to Oregon and the position. I got here in February, so I'm still just learning a lot. But yeah, I put my email there just to be in the know, because I can share a lot of things with the people I work with, and yeah, it's nice to meet you all and see all your faces. I had joined in on another call, but yeah, that's me.
Apologies to not yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
How's it going, Derek?
Yeah, good, Andrew. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. I don't have a ton of updates right now. I'm still on details, so we're working through a lot of the IRA stuff, trying to get people money, essentially. That's my daughter in the background. Sorry if she gets all feisty. But we don't have a ton going on other than it's high time in loan season. So if anybody needs funds, it is a good time to get your application in. The sooner you get it in, the sooner you get it complete, the better everything works. And if there's anybody on here that has questions about the loan process, I know that I've had a few meetings with some of the friends and family farmers folks to kind of walk through and say, this is exactly, what you can use. This is exactly how we can get through it. But of course, every situation is going to be unique. So for as much as we want to grain or nail down those specifics, it can be difficult. So don't be shy, reach out. I am on the details. So if you reach out and I don't answer you, don't get mad at me. I will get back to you. It just might take me a little bit of time. So.
Great. Thanks for being here. I see we got lots of activity in the notes. Thank you so much. That makes my life a lot easier. But if anyone has some things they want to share from what they got reporting, there's a lot here. So any highlights from what folks are working on?
Yes, I'll just physically raise my hand instead of pressing a button. This is a follow-up to Sage's comments in the chat. And in the North Valley, we're offering 4 farm direct value added workshops. Kelly Street's going to put those on. She's been offering them at the coast and in the Mid and South Willamette Valley. Allison's, Friends of Family Farmers worked really hard to get the law updated, and so now there's these new updates. So we're going to have one at Adelante Mujeres in Forest Grove, and Sage, I was there earlier this week, I think. Alejandro was like, oh, I want you to meet Sage. So there we're having like 5 spaces reserved for you all to come and to do that. So, and I've heard OSU is also going to be updating the publication that they have with the new law. I think Jared Hibbard Swanson might be taking the lead on that, and it'll both, when it comes out, it's going to be both in Spanish and English at the same time. So, yep, we're having four workshops, 4 different places. I mean, same workshop in 4 different places. So, end of January, beginning of February.
Nice. Thanks, Heidi. Who's next?
I have another one that I forgot. I'm sorry. The Oregon Pasture Network is accepting applications for mentees for our mentorship program. So if you have someone who is just starting out in pasture management or livestock production with a focus on management intensive rotational grazing, we do have spots available in the mentorship program, and they'll be paired with an elder expert farmer in our program to get some hands-on training and advice on how to overcome whatever walls they're hitting. So I'll put that in the chat as well. I think that application is open for about another week.
Great. I saw that award for oat, Penny, the oak centered restoration. You want to share on that?
Yeah, so the Oregon Agricultural Trust worked with the Coast Fork, Long Tom, and some other regional partners to submit an application for an RCPP from NRCS. It's a big bucket of money allocated to one geographic region to fund specific projects. So they were awarded that, and that'll support our work on oak restoration projects that have a focus on prescribed fire and providing access to private lands for Indigenous folks to harvest first foods. It'll also create opportunities for more working lands easements in our region, and we're very excited about it.
I will share that we did at Rogue Farm Corps a big push for host farm outreach this year, looking for additional host farm sites for our apprenticeship program, and we had a pretty fantastic response. So we might potentially be able to double the number of apprenticeships that we can offer folks in 2024, which is huge. We're seeing some really strong host farm applicants from all over the state. So we had been in sort of a moment of program contraction for our apprenticeship program for a number of years. We used to have chapters located in 4 different regions of the state, and we'd withdrawn into 2. And I am happy to say that we saw a lot of interest this year among host farm mentors in the Willamette Valley and also in Central Oregon again. So that's really exciting to see. And hopefully that means then we'll be reaching out to you to let you know that we have about twice the number of apprentice positions that we're looking to fill in 2024 for folks. So you can share that with your networks. And then also to say that we're currently in negotiation to secure up to 4 acres with an expanded lease at the Sorek site where our regenerative farming fellowship has been hosted this year. So that program, the pilot year has concluded. We have 5 participants that successfully completed it, and we're looking forward to expanding the site there and hopefully also building out some additional infrastructure for that program in 2024.
Amazing. Nice. Congratulations. Sage, y'all got a lot going on here. What's happening?
Yeah, we are going to be hiring someone to manage our regenerative agriculture and land access programming. Soraya was previously the manager of our agriculture and food sovereignty program, who most of you all know. And so in this past year, we've kind of just been figuring out what works best and kind of going through a department restructure. And so we've identified a need for another manager to oversee the potential farmland we are getting and the point above with Metro to get a 32-acre farm that we will be using for a regenerative agriculture incubator farm. So I'll be in contact with Rowan too to learn more about their programming with East Multnomah. And yeah, so I'll share that job posting with you all when that comes out. And then same on my team, we'll be hiring a farmers market coordinator to manage those two markets, the Forest Grove and Cornelius markets. So please share with your networks if you know anyone interested in that. I will be their supervisor and kind of working on the backside, like with the programming and such. And then just wanted to give a few other updates of our programming. We have our farm to pantry program, purchasing almost $90,000 worth of produce from local farmers, including value-added products. Yesterday, we distributed canned tomatillos and frozen blueberries that were preserved this summer. So excited, Heidi, to increase that knowledge with other farmers too earlier next year. And we've done a few other workshops to highlight local grains to make pan de muerto and other breads. And we'll have a lot of folks graduate by the end of this month in our programming. So lots of fun things ahead and looking forward to share the job opportunities soon too.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's awesome. And amazing with that farmland. That's really, really cool. Cool. All right. Anyone else got some things to share? Well, I appreciate you all taking the time and taking the time to update our network. You know, these notes get read by a bunch of folks, the video gets watched. So coming to these and sharing what you're working on is you know, you're participating in the collaboration, making sure that folks are aware of all the different programming that's happening around the state. And it's I think it's you're contributing to the network, which I really appreciate. So thanks for being here. It's super helpful to have that. And you're building up the capacity for all the other folks who do this work to learn about what you're doing and cross-pollinate and share successes and what you're learning. So we'll be in contact. Next meeting's in February, but stay tuned to the Farming for the Future listserv. There'll be lots of things coming out on the disaster resilience grants and everything else. And feel free to use that resource. If you have updates and jobs and things, post them up there and we'll get them up on the OCFSN website. And yeah. Hope you all have a really awesome rest of your day. And just big appreciations. We'll see y'all later.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.